Dangerfield. Everybody here remembers Rodney Dangerfield. He was a huge star back then, and he used to come in. He'd do a Tonight shows every couple of weeks. He'd come in and do a Tonight show. When he was doing a Tonight show, he'd come to all the clubs and test his 5 minutes, work his 5 minutes in. So if you were on stage and you saw Rodney come into the back of the room, like at the Improv, you'd see him underneath the light. He'd just poke his head underneath the light, and you knew as the MC, or if you were a comic on stage, wrap up what you're doing and get out of there. Now, a lot of comics would see him, and they cheat. They do a minute, maybe 2 minutes, another joke. But I'd see Rodney go, and then my mom, all right, folks, we got a star for you here. And I'd bring Rodney right up, and as I'd walk, and Rodney every time goes, hey, that kid knows how to move, man. He knows how to move, man. I like that. He knows how to move, you know. So one night, after the show, I was emceeing about 2 in the morning. I'm out Times Square. Now, this was Times Square when it was Times Square, man. It was like you could just see there were prostitutes and drug dealers and thieves. I mean, you just saw dorsal fins just moving through the sidewalk, man. You know? And I'm standing out there one night, and I'm having a cigarette, and I'm watching it all go by, and I feel this presence next to me, and I turn, it's Rodney. Rodney goes, hey, kid, it's all happening here, isn't it? It's happening here, man. Wait a minute, here comes my date. And a hooker walked up, and Rodney walked up to her, and he goes, you got to find love anywhere you can, kid. And he had a club. Dangerfields, and he would pay us. And looking back, it really, again, was Rodney's sort of young comic scholarship thing. Because he didn't really need us, but sometimes if the show ended early, like he had a show, these were the guys from his generation, the Jackie Vernons and the Jackie Masons. And if those guys, you know, there was time where they were still serving drinks, he might put a young comic on, and you'd have to hold the crowd while they're selling some more drinks. And it was really tough work. And then there was some times when you're doing prom gigs. They bring all these prom, you know, like just busloads of kid in from Long Island or whatever, and you just were dealing with young drunken kids. And one night I was on stage, and Rodney would be in the back room. You could always hear him in the back of the room. You could hear him laughing because it was just tough work. It was just like gladiator work, man. It was just a chair and a whip. You know, you just fighting these audiences, you know. I would always just find the loudmouth and just put him up on the cross, man, and just, you know, pound them, you know. The other people would laugh at him, and that would be working. And so one night, the comic in front of me left early, and then I was on stage, and the comic who was supposed to be behind me was late, so I was on a long time, and I just kept fighting it. And finally, the comic came, and I came off, and Rodney, you know, he came up to me and said, hey, kid, man, you know how to hold that stage, man. All right, you don't run. I like that, man. You got a lot of balls, man. I was hearing that a lot. I got a lot of balls. I wasn't hearing funny, but I was hearing balls, you know. Funny would have been preferential, you know. Hey, you want to do some cocaine? I'm like, absolutely, man. Cocaine with Rodney, that's why I got into this business, you know. So we went into his office, and we're doing coke. By the way, this was the first time I realized there was different types of coke. There was like celebrity coke, because I was doing street coke. The street coke I was doing was so cut with baby laxative, it kept you more regular than high, you know. You do a line, take a dump. Do a line, take a dump, you know. So we're doing Rodney's coke, and you know, and I'm asking for advice because I had Rodney there. I mean, I wanted to hear some advice. I said, Rodney, I wonder how I can get better. How do I get better? He says, well, you got to tape yourself. You tape yourself? I said, no, I don't tape myself. I used to, but I can't stand to hear my voice. I sound like an idiot. Well, of course you're an idiot. You're a comedian. What do you think? You're a brain surgeon? An idiot. You got to tape yourself, man, because that's how you find out what's funny, man, because the audience, they'll tell you what's funny, man. You listen to them. What they're laughing at more, you do. What they're not laughing at, you don't do, man. You know, I mean, individually, they may be orangutans, but as a group, they're genius. And he was right. Because that's when I started listening, and when I listened to my tapes, when I did stuff about relationships, they laughed more. When I did stuff about politics, they didn't laugh. So I took my politics jokes, and I just gave any politics jokes I came up with, I gave them to Bill Maher, and I just forgot about them. You know, I just started moving in that direction, you know. And then, one of the also advantages of working at Rodney's place was that you got to hang out afterwards, you know, and so these comedians would sit around and tell stories, you know, Jackie Mason, Jackie Vernon, Jackie Gale, a lot of Jackies back then, you know. So one night I was sitting in, we'd be outside the circle, but these guys were in there. I was listening to them tell stories, and one night Jackie Mason goes to Jackie Vernon and said, hey, dude, I got to really kind of work into my Jackie Mason. You do that job I give you? Did you do that job? And Jackie Vernon goes, no, I didn't do that job. He goes, well, you didn't do that job. Why didn't you do that job? I didn't meet my price. Oh, you had another job that night. That's why you didn't do it? No, I didn't meet my price. You didn't have a price. You didn't have a price. If you didn't do that job, you didn't have a price. I knew exactly what he was saying, and it meant something to me. It meant if you don't have a job, you do the job that's offered to you for whatever price it is. And then, because it fit into my work ethic. You know, it fit into because my grandfather was a farmer, and he always said work begets work, which you take a job till you get another job. You just got to have a job, and this really kind of paid off for me.